Hi, you're watching Country Chat with Dom here with me, Dom, and I'm joined by an incredible artist based over in Nashville. It's Ansel Brown. Hi, Ansel.
Hey there, Dom. It's nice to meet you finally. I've heard a lot of great things, so I'm excited to be on here.
I mean, I'd like to say I've heard a lot of great things, but the thing I've heard with you is I've heard a lot of incredible music. I mean, it has just been so good from the moment I sort of like was introduced to you through the press releases that we get here at Country Chat. It was just like I clicked on the song that was sent, and I was like, oh, this is an incredible song, and we're going to talk about this more in a second. But on my drive down, was just saying just beforehand, the whole drive from where I live in York down to Suffolk has just been incredible song after incredible song after incredible song, and then there's been the same songs that have just been done slightly different. I mean, and we'll talk about this more, but first thing I want to do is go into a bit about you first. Let's get to know Ansel. Let's get to know who you are, how you came into, this incredible music scene that it is, how you came to be, creating what I think is incredible music.
Well, thank you, man. I feel the compliment and I love the compliment. So it makes me feel like I'm doing the right thing. So whenever I hear things like that, I get excited. So thank you for making my day.
Thank you.
But I got into yeah, but in terms of getting into the music, man, I never planned to be a country singer. Honestly,
Really?
yeah, I was before I started music. I was into worship music for a while, and I kind of felt like I got this feeling that I needed to be doing music in a broader sense and try to be a positive person. But I felt like I could reach more people and just be positive in their lives and bring good music.
Yeah.
So I started writing country songs way back. And before you know it, I had a friend that I had brought a country. I had raised money for another country artist named Barry Preston, and it got me introduced to a really good producer in Nashville.
Yeah.
And I loved him. Great guy named Cliff Downs. And I went through this process of helping this other artist. Nobody knew that I could sing, but I was helping him find investors and I was helping him with marketing. And then before you know it, like he had gone through launching a single and then leaving country music and he became a pastor. And
Oh,
yeah, so he left country music. So his career didn't take off like we all hoped it would because he was a very talented singer. And about 10, like I want to say like maybe 7, 10 years later, I started doing the country music writing and I started doing some demos and I sent the demos to Cliff Downs in Nashville just to see what he would think. And I didn't
yeah.
tell him it was for me. So as far as he knew, I had another artist that I wanted to try to raise money for and I wanted him to hear the artist.
Yeah.
So I remember this like it was yesterday. I was driving in the rain. It was like a downpour, like you can't see, like even if your windshield wipers are moving as fast as they can, you still
Yeah.
can't see. So I was going really slow and I got this call and he's like, Ansel, who is this guy? Like this guy has a really commercial voice. I understand everything that he's saying. You can connect with him. You feel his emotion, and he's like, going off. And I'm like,
You're grinning ear
okay,
to
I
ear.
gotta tell him. I got to tell him the truth now because I wasn't expecting him to react that way.
Yeah.
And I said, Cliff, hold on. Let me just tell you something. And I said, it's me. And I was like, he's like, what, you sing? And he was just like, he went silent, like he was thinking to himself, "This is Ansel."
Yeah.
And it just was like a surreal moment for him and for me because I was like, I was blown away that he was blown away, and then he was blown away that he found out that it was me.
I mean that's
So,
crazy. I mean, it must be even more of a compliment for the fact that he didn't know. So it's not like it's a forced compliment. It's not like you're expecting to
right.
say, "Oh yeah, 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 you're great." Yeah, this is him being genuinely serious.
And Cliff Downs will tell you if you're not good.
Yeah,
He's not afraid to tell you what he thinks, and he's worked with Garth Brooks. He's worked with the list goes on and on. Famous pop singers, famous country singers. He's worked with them, and in fact, he was signed to Atlantic Records by the famous producer or the famous record mogul Ed I've had trouble with names today, but it's Emmett Erdogan, Emmett
Oh
Erdogan,
yes,
famous. Yes. So
yes.
he was actually signed to his own record deal through that guy.
It just
So
shows.
Cliff is, yeah, Cliff is a major piece of music history. And, to have him on your side feels like you've already won.
Yeah,
So I started driving back and forth from Charlotte, North Carolina to Nashville, Tennessee every 2 weeks. And I was running my advertising marketing agency, and I was like going back and forth. I'd get pulled over by the police,
yeah.
because I'm speeding, because I'm listening to music. And when you listen to your own music, and you're like going through it in your mind, you start to like get a little of adrenaline going.
Yeah.
And so I would occasionally speed, and I got pulled over one time. And I remember the guy shined his light in my face. It was like 2 a.m. And I'm
Yeah.
like, I know you may not believe this, but I'm driving to Nashville. I'm recording with a famous producer. And, I start talking to the police officer, and he was like, "Oh, what are you recording?" And I turn on my radio, and I'd start playing it for him. And every time, like this happened like 3 times, and every time they were like, "Hey man, just bring down the speed a little bit, and I'm gonna let you go this time." I never got a ticket.
And if you're watching
Because they
this now,
got
we
in.
do apologize.
Oh
But
yeah,
yeah.
right. Yeah, it was really it was an interesting time. But I was doing that like every 2 weeks with my full-time job, running an agency as a creative director as well.
Yeah.
And I was just like going like 100 miles an hour just in my life. And we finally got to a point where we had almost the whole album done. And I have one song on there called House Like That, which never made the album, but it was supposed to be on the album. It was supposed to be my first release, but we got it yanked from us at the last minute from the publishing company because a major artist was going to break that they wanted to have that song. And
Okay.
so I had to step back. I was not on a major label. And so I let them, I didn't argue. I let them do what they wanted to do with it. But before that happened, a Charlotte major station heard about the song, and they had me interview with Cliff. And I was in the studio, and they played it, and they started wanting to spin it,
Yeah.
regular, like rotation, which is a big deal in major market radio for an independent artist. And so I had to stop everything though when it got yanked from me. But that was my intro. That was what kind of broke the news about me as an independent artist, is
I
that
mean,
moment in that studio
it must be
with.
so frustrating in a way, though, because it's fantastic that a up and coming major artist that's signed wants to take your song, but when you've already sort of snowballed it into this thing, and in your head you're getting ready, and you start getting these people like saying, "Yeah, this is actually really, really good," we'll start playing it. It must be a bit of a come down almost, to be told, actually, you can't have it anymore. We're taking this with us.
You know what? I had so many good songs. I was not worried. I really
Well,
like.
fair enough.
I was like, I was like, I I know I'm an independent artist, but I feel like I put on a production that was major label quality production,
Yeah,
and my producer was major label quality producing. And I felt like, we had enough depth in this album where one song that is considered my launch song it's not gonna matter. In fact, it was cool because I got to sing that song regardless in my concerts,
yeah.
and people always loved it. It was fun to sing in, live. And I just moved on to the next one. The next one was Didn't We Shine, which I also never released as a single, believe it or not. And
Really?
and it was, yeah. And you know how the radio stations I don't know if they still do this or not, but they would do you'd listen to one song and another song you'd vote, and
Yeah,
whichever song won would keep going. And
yeah.
that song was beating all the major label artists that it went against, every one of them. And then the biggest consultant, or maybe one or two number consultant in country music radio in the United States, put it on her short list of recommendations. And I got a call from Ty Herndon, a message from Ty Herndon. And he was, because he had been mentoring me a little bit. And he
Yeah.
said, Ansel, he's like, how did you get on this list? Like, she's never had an independent artist on her list. You got to be on a major label. And even with that, I got a team of people in Nashville that were coming around me and building this, and we had a lot of buzz going, and they were all like, you need to come out with a fast song first. Don't come out with a ballad." So
Yeah.
Didn't We Shine was a ballad. And if you listen to my old stuff, you'll hear Didn't We Shine, because it's one of my fan favorites. But to this day, I kind of think I made I let everybody kind of decide for me. And I feel like Mine's Bigger was really good. And Mine's Bigger got me the Discovery Award for Music Row. My album overall was Who Knew to Watch by the CMA, Debut Spotlight by the Country Music Association, Artist of the Month by the Country Music Association. I got all of that with the album and the single, but I still think to this day that my first single should have been Didn't We Shine.
It's crazy. I mean, Mine's Bigger is an incredible song though, as well, though. You
Oh
can't
yeah, I
deny
love it.
it.
No, it's a good. It's about my heart. It's about my heart. So, it's
I mean,
it's a fun song to play around with.
it's one of those songs that, when you first listen to it, you just think, what on earth are we talking about here? Are we
Yeah,
talking about what we think we're talking about? And
and that's what
it takes
that's what
that second
Robert K.
or third.
Orman.
It takes that second or third, listen, and you go, oh, okay, this is where we're going.
It's about his heart. Yeah. Robert K. Orman, who was at the time he was the big critic in country music and on Music Row, and he's the one that gave me the Discovery Award. And he said every time that he would talk about it, he'd be like, "And Ansel's talking about his heart. Get your mind out of the gutter."
I mean, as a radio presenter, stuff like that is just incredible because it gives. When we talk about songs we like, we talk about songs we love. We can talk about the song itself, but when there's those little anecdotes within it, it just makes it
Yeah.
so much more fun. You can play around with it a bit more, and I can imagine there's been loads of little jingles made from it or whatnot, where people have gone like, "So, you know what? Mine's bigger."
Yeah. That's right. Yeah, we're bigger here in Texas is a big thing, right? So I was
Exactly.
I was um but I can't tell you that I just felt like I was doing something that not a lot of independent artists were doing at the time. And I feel like I learned so much in that time period that if I like to say I felt like I was going through a room in the dark and I was having to feel my way, but I had things to hold on to the whole walk through the room.
Yeah.
Because people were coming out of the fabric of Nashville, and they were involving and injecting themselves into my career, not like to take it over or anything, but to really help. And whether it's Ty Herndon sitting down for breakfast and giving me pointers, telling me hey, you're a little flat when you go live, or whatever. He's being on, because he came to one of my showcases and he was like, "Well, you were a little off there a little bit." And I said, "Well, I was really nervous."
Yeah.
Because you sometimes, and I was learning the whole in-ear thing. I had never done in-ears before,
Split
and I was
tracks and all
learning
that
how to
stuff.
adjust it. Yeah, so I made some mistakes when I did one showcase, and I was like, but he didn't, but he was honest with me. He was giving me real feedback. And I really appreciated the people that came out of the fabric. I like the fabric of Nashville, and helped me, like, without asking for anything in return is awesome, to me.
Yeah.
But this time, after leaving music for almost 11 years, I I came back into this, and I feel like I that same room with the lights off where I had things to hold on to get through it. This time I feel like the lights are on.
Yeah.
I
No,
feel I feel completely like I feel like at ease, that I'm doing the right thing. I know what I'm doing. I know what it takes. I know how fans, want to connect. I know all of that stuff that I learned in the first period of my career. I'm more mature now. I think I don't take things for granted. And I think that's making me a more passionate artist, even though I've always been passionate about the music. I think
hmm.
this time it's like I I had a veteran come up to me, and this goes along. You told me I can go off on tangents.
Feel free.
Um, I had this veteran come up to me at Memorial Day, this past Memorial Day in the United States, where we
Hmm.
celebrate those that have given their lives for, the greatest cause, which is our
Yeah.
our freedom. And he was in tears after I sang, and he came up to me, and he belongs to a place called Richard's Coffee Shop, which is a national treasure in the United States. It was just featured on ABC nationally and ESPN nationally for their Veterans Day special that they did.
Yeah.
And he's a long-term, veteran that goes there. And he came up to me and he said, Ansel, he's like, you're better than you used to be. And I haven't been doing any. That's the thing. I didn't do anything except absorb everything that I had already done because I haven't been performing. I haven't been doing any of. I've been writing. I've been
Yeah.
recording for several years now, but I haven't really been out in the public sphere with my music. And to have somebody come up to you that knows me for the last 12 years and knows what I used to perform like, and then to come to me and say, man, you've gotten better.
Yeah.
I think it's just I got to absorb everything that I had done. I've been through hell and back for that 11-year period. I've had several things happen in my life that can just turn your life upside down. I like to say life's taken several bites out of me. And I think going through all of that, I'm a different person now for
Yeah.
sure than I was when I was first in music. So that
I
made me feel
think
incredibly good.
I think when you hear stuff like that, coming from the veteran, saying that you're better than what you used to be, it helps you as an artist, given the fact that you can become, you can get quite blind as to, your progression and what you're wanting to do. And you don't realize how far you've actually come. When I say blind, I don't mean in the negative sense that you're rubbish and you don't realize you're rubbish. The fact that you can improve, but you might still think it's like, somebody who's losing weight, they'll always think they're fat. But yet, when somebody else meets them,
Yeah.
for a long time, they'll say, "Oh, you've lost, a lot of weight," but you don't see it
Good
because you
analogy.
see it. You see it day in day out, and it's nice to hear that. Particularly from a veteran as well. Obviously, thanks to the service and everything that he's done for for America, and it's just absolutely incredible. And going back to what you were saying about when you realize what you wanted, from a young, from an earlier onset, it helps to know what you're wanting to do, know what you're wanting to achieve early on, so you can create your mind map and your road to success, sort of. Because a lot of
Oh yeah.
people, when they don't know what they want, when they don't know what they need, and they're still trying to battle it out, it takes a lot of energy. It takes a lot of mind thought, thought process, and you don't develop yourself. If you're constrained by other thoughts and other issues that you because simple things that you don't know what you want to do, whether it's you don't know whether you want to be just a singer or as just a songwriter, or you don't know if you want sync deals, or you don't know if you want to be just an independent artist or labeled or whatever. It could be simple things like that, or if you don't know what you want to do this week in terms of who you want to write with. I mean, there's
Right.
simple things that you can do or easy decisions to make in life that'll take a lot of pressure away. If you take those pressures away, you can then just be free. You've got so much more free
Right.
energy that you're not using or consuming in, mundane thoughts almost.
It's true. And I think, being through it one time pretty successfully, and then going through it this time, I'm more seasoned. I'm not as nervous to get out in front of people. I know who I am as a man. I know what I want. I know how I want it. And I think that just that confidence that breeds in somebody is pretty powerful. And I
Yeah.
think that's a part of, what's making this round like so much more. I don't want to say it's more rewarding at this point because I'm just starting, but it is the action of doing what I'm doing is definitely, it feels more rewarding in that sense right now. And I love that that's how I feel about this.
And at the end of the day, you know that yours is bigger.
Yeah, that's right.
Going back
Well,
a little bit.
I got to tell you the asshole story, by the way.
Go on.
So, because since we're talking about, you said I could cuss.
Oh yeah, feel free.
So my first foray into music, I partnered up with a famous NFL star named Sean Gilbert,
Yeah.
and he became my business partner, and we started a label together. And we went out and launched this thing after I had already kind of launched on my own. We repackaged everything, and then we launched again
Yeah.
with our own label. And we were doing a big interview out. I can't remember what city we were in, but his dad is from Detroit, Michigan. And when he was talking, so we did our interviews, and then we let his dad interview. And his dad got up to the microphone with the guy, and the guy's asking questions about Ansel Brown, and he goes, "That asshole Brown is just the best, And he said it. I'm not joking. He said it that way like 12 times during the interview. Sean Gilbert and I are looking at each other, and we're just like, we're shocked, but at the same time, it was hilarious. It was hilarious, and we were cracking up. And then you could tell the interviewer, he was about to lose it because it kept happening. So from that point on, I was asshole Brown.
I mean, if the shoe fits and, if that's what he really
Yeah.
thinks of you, then, I mean, let him be him. So funny.
It was just his accent, and it was just, he had no intention of making it that way. It's just that's how it sounded.
Oh, please,
So
please be recordings of that somewhere. Please, please.
and there's got to be, the recording does have to be somewhere, and I don't know where it is, but I would love to find it because it really happened. And I think from that point on, Sean Gilbert, it was just a running joke, hey, do you say your name Ansel Brown, how do you say your name? And I was like, well, it's better than asshole Brown. So
At least you've already found that kind of like bottom level. You know where the bottom is.
yes,
So
exactly, I don't have to worry about my ego anymore.
going back to the start, then you mentioned that you wasn't always country. You wasn't always. This wasn't always the kind of like the direction you was going in. Now you've got a song out there called "A World of Outlaws," and it very much reminds me of a Metallica style guitar-y vocal ability. Bit of just there's a bit of so many different kind of like rock elements within that, with that little tinge of country, just gently a little sprinkle in there.
Yep.
And is that the sort of direction that you was originally going to go into, that kind of like rockier side, or was it a different kind of like
That's
avenue
in
that you was
me.
going to go?
I have one this album called More Cowbell that'll remind you of kind of the World of Outlaw feel. I think that's kind of one of my sweet spots, is that kind of that gritty, very organic sound that you hear in A World of Outlaws. It's just I think that's a natural like place that I gravitate to in my vocals.
Yeah.
However, I like to have range. So, I will try to do power notes and things like that.
I mean, I've just put it on
Sorry.
just in the background a little bit, just so we can
Oh,
sort of hear what it is. I don't know if you can hear it on yours.
Oh, our hearts are pounding, dust is rising, outlaw feeling in this dirt shirt.
Just give me that kind of
it's a
like
world of racing, a red dirt brawl. We're an outlaw nation, a world of I can't remember it now.
it's incredible.
You
I mean, I grew
cut
up.
me off before I get there.
I was wanting just to see how long you keep going.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I kind of came into country properly in 2016. That's when I was introduced. When I lived in Texas for a couple of months working in prosthetics, and
Okay.
when I was in the hotel room, I'd switch the radio on, and it'd just be country music. That's kind of like what they were all preset to in San Antonio, and that's what kind of like introduced me to country. But before that, I was listening to everything from rock to indie to alt to Britpop to it could be anything. And I think the Arctic Monkeys are quite big over in the United States now. They were very much what I'd listened to when I was, younger in age. And listen to this.
Uh-huh.
This is very much what my dad used to listen to and got me into, is this kind of like sort of sounding music. He used to put Scuzz and Kerrang on the TV, and this is what be, it's very
Ah.
much. It sort of gives me Never Neverland vibes. It's just yeah, I don't know. Tell me about it. Tell me kind of like the direction you went with it.
Well, so I'm a marketing guy, and that song was actually an idea it wasn't like I planned to do a World of Outlaws song. I literally wrote it for the organization called World of Outlaws,
Yeah.
and I wrote it really quick. Actually, it came together fast, and we produced it fast, and I pitched it to the World of Outlaws, and then they took it as their theme song back in that was like 2012,
There
and
you go.
we introduced it on national TV on Velocity Channel with Kelvin Locklear on his show called Outcast Customs at the time, and
Oh
that was a
yeah.
Discovery Channel network. Yeah, so we got to release it. I got out of music like I don't know a year and a half later, and I never really did much with the song. I actually just did that, introduced it on national TV, did a few shows, did a lot of autographs at a dirt race, and then I left music because of some things that I was going through, and I just wasn't doing music anymore.
Yeah.
And so that song is still probably my most downloaded or streamed song to this day because people use it in their dirt racing videos. And but
Perfect.
not a lot of people know. You're one of the few that know about it. There are not a lot of people that know about that song. So I was kind of impressed that you pulled that one out of the mix
I
as
mean,
one that you wanted to talk about.
of
But
course. I mean,
it's
ideally, I want to talk about everything because why not?
yeah,
But
yeah,
yeah, I mean,
it's a rocking.
it's crazy because see, when I was listening through, through all your music through in my car journey down here, um, obviously you go through Spotify, you go through YouTube and everything, all the different platforms, and I start with Spotify first because that's the easiest accessible one, and it goes obviously your latest single, the Whiskey Makes a Miss Me, and then the second
Yep.
one is A World of Outlaws, and then it's We Call It Football. Then it's Waikiki Country, and Waikiki Country is the next one I want to talk about because it's just
Waikiki Cowboy.
you go Waikiki Cowboy. You go from a World of Outlaws, which is very rock, to then, very much a hula, going to Hawaii style. It's
Yeah,
such a
everything.
change.
Yeah, everything there's a reason behind everything, whether it's a marketing reason or a emotional connection to a song or whatever it is. And I don't like to like just record songs because they're good, even though I do. I like the fact that Waikiki Cowboy I grew up on. I spent like I'm not joking about this. It was like 4 to 6 months on Waikiki Beach when I was a young teenager with my dad in Hawaii. He's a Navy captain, Navy commander at the time.
Yeah.
They couldn't find us housing. They couldn't find us military housing. So they left us in a resort on Waikiki Beach. So when I heard the song, I was like, I kind of lived on Waikiki Beach. This is like perfect for me.
Yeah.
And and it's a different tenor, the voice, the vocal style is kind of a different thing than World of Outlaws. But World of Outlaws was several years later, after that Waikiki Cowboy with the album came out. And so World of Outlaws was kind of like just a standalone. So even though I probably would have done it on the album if I had written it back then, but I think it was just two different songs, but I like songs that I connect to mostly. So somebody might be like, okay, so he has Waikiki Cowboy, then he has One Wish, which has a huge story behind it. And then you got all these, everything worked together holistically in the
Yeah.
album. But Waikiki Cowboy is absolutely one, is written by Victoria Shaw, and I'm blank on the second names, two writers. Victoria Shaw is a huge writer, very successful writer.
Yeah.
And I think she liked what I did with the song, what Cliff and I did with the song. She's pretty close to Cliff. And yeah, I was Waikiki Cowboy for a while, man. And that song it was, people wanted me releasing that song. I'll be honest, that people wanted that one to be the first release.
Really? I mean, it is
A lot of
incredible.
people,
It
yeah, a
is
lot of people
really
did.
good. I mean, on the radio show that I've got, the station I feature on is called UKCountryRadio.com, and after my show on a Tuesday at 8 p.m. UK time, they've just released a new show which is Coastal Country. So all the kind of like
Oh,
coastal songs and all the country songs that very much, you're talking about, like Zach Brown Band, Toes, and all that sort of songs, and that
oh
is
yeah.
definitely I'm definitely going to be recommended that one to be played in
Uh,
the mix there as well because it fits.
Well, I would love that. And what happens with artists, especially in this day and age, when you got major label artists and you've got independents and you've got Spotify as a great equalizer, right? And I think what happens is when you have notoriety build on a single release or a new album and you haven't been around the industry for a bunch of years, then a lot of times that older music is like that's what people start discovering and they're like, I had no clue about this. Why haven't I heard these songs? And I get that a lot. Like it's like I just discovered, like I had no clue that you even existed. How do I not know about you and your
Yeah,
music? And it's always like the best compliment I can get, right? Is like, why did I never know about your music? And so if people are playing it now, that would be amazing. But one thing quickly about A World of Outlaws, I never did that in a live show until this year when I did it at
really.
Race City Festival. Yep. And I just realized as I was doing it, it might be the best live song that I have. So I think what I'm doing is when I do shows, it'll be the last song that I sing because when I finish with winning and it's like super intense.
Yeah.
I think people are gonna be if I sing that song at a dirt track for a pre-race concert, I think that song just takes off because it's that kind of song for racing,
I mean,
especially live.
we've got so many racetracks here in the UK, and you hear, very similar songs. So definitely, if you push it for the UK racetracks here, Brands Hatch and Silverstone and everywhere else around here in the UK, I'd push it. It's just such an incredible
Yeah,
song.
man.
It's so different and it's so out there and it's so catchy. The whole
Well,
rhythm,
thank
the beat,
you.
the melody, the tempo, everything comes together so
I
sweetly. You do
appreciate
it
it,
so
man.
perfectly. Absolutely brilliant. And another good song that I do really, really like before we start going on to your latest release. And I mentioned at the start that, I mentioned a couple of different songs, and there's this song here that has sort of different versions of it. And this start here, I'm just going to play the start for
I
everybody to
know what it is.
listen.
Know
The
what it is.
third planet,
Oh,
between the two great oceans, is a nation of people who dare to dream of liberty and justice for all. In their pursuit of freedom, they've become a beacon of hope for all mankind. From the founding fathers through this present generation, Americans have given their lives to secure these fundamental rights. They are the heroes we celebrate. And this is our country.
Absolutely. When that first came on, I had goosebumps. I was like, I don't know if you've ever seen there's a musical theatre thing out there called War of the Worlds. Jeff Wayne, and there's a line in there that has that deep voice, that kind of like that storyteller's narrative that really cuts you deep to the bone. With the whole bass in his voice there, it was just. I was like, I was driving along, I was like, what on earth this? And it was just
Autobots.
yes.
Autobots. Roll
Was it?
out.
I was going to ask, who was it that did it? Was it you? Did you do
Yeah.
that voice?
No, it's Peter Cullen, Optimus Prime.
Ah, yes, it is. I was looking at the name like Peter Cullen. It's like that rings a bell. That does.
Yeah,
How?
it's
How?
that's
How? 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 How
how
did you
did an
get it?
independent artist do that?
Oh my
See,
god!
that's what I like people to say because that's what my glass ceiling is. This whole thing about having a label, you got to have a label,
Yeah,
but they don't know me that well because I like breaking the glass ceilings,
you,
and
there is no
and
limitations.
there are no limitations, and I don't care if it's always the way radio does it or not. I'm gonna find ways to get my attention. And Peter Cullen is amazing. He's an amazing man. He
Yeah,
cares about our veterans. He cares about those that served. He cares about kids like I do and veterans. And he's just an amazing guy. He was also Eeyore for most of the history of Winnie the Pooh,
yeah,
just so you know. And he also created the famous clicking sound on the what's the alien predator
yeah,
movies. He created that clicking sound that you hear.
yeah.
So he is a hall of fame voice actor who's just amazing, and he did that for me.
I remember watching a video. I think it was on Facebook or it was a reel or something. You know when you find yourself doom scrolling and you're just watching reel after reel after reel, and it came up of him at a, I think it was like a Comic-Con type thing where he was explaining how he got
Yeah.
to that voice, and it's so fascinating. And I mean, it's incredible to get somebody of such high, notoriety to feature on such an incredible track as well. Because we were talking earlier about veterans, and
Yeah.
the gentleman that came and spoke to you said that you was you sound so much better. The song, for those who don't know, Our Country, it is very much stars and stripes, red, white, and blue, America straight through. It is
I
very,
have
very
other
patriotic.
people I have people in the UK using the video for their own, like, because you can clip out parts of it that work for any country, right? So I
Yeah,
have other people, other countries using it for their own purpose. But yeah, it was definitely a red, white, and blue song. And Peter Cullen is a red, white, and blue guy. He believes in this country, and he raised his hand and said, "I would be more than happy." He wrote me an amazing quote that I should have on my website, which I've got a new website now, so I'll have to get that quote up. But it was an exhilarating quote to
yeah.
have just an amazingly famous actor talking about his feelings about me and what I'm doing. But I'm a huge supporter of veterans, and so is he. So we had good synergy, and we met with all of my work with the final space shuttle launches and NASA. He had a good relationship with NASA as well, and that's how we met. And
Really?
oh yeah, and I serenaded him in a conference room after I finished singing for the final space shuttle launch. The last space shuttle launch ever, I sang for NASA,
Yeah.
and I went in the room. I walked by his conference room, and I was like, I heard this Autobots, and I stopped and I said, "Is that who I think it is?" to my handler, and the handler said, "Yes, that's who you think it is." And then I said, "Could I sing to him?" And so she went in the room, she came back out and she said, "Yeah, you can sing to him." So I walked in and I sang the song that I sang for the shuttle launch. And literally as I was singing, he was standing there, and I might have this on video actually. He was standing there, and as I sang, he was crying, and the tears were just flowing.
Really?
And yeah, and from that moment on, it was like, yeah, I think he really connected with me. And so when I asked him about this song and doing the narration, he was like, "Yes, I'll do it."
I mean, the great thing as well is, I played that version there first, with Peter Cullen's voice in the background. The original version. I think this is it here. I'm just pulling it up now. I'll play it for you now. Crazy after this. It's just absolutely.
It's
We
kind of going in and
walk
out. I can't
in
really.
battle
It's just so
for falling.
so full. It's so. I mean, I did not think you could make that any better, but by adding Peter Cullen's voice, I mean, it really
Oh
does.
gosh, yeah,
For
yeah. Is
everyone.
It's just absolutely incredible song. I highly recommend everybody just if you haven't
it
checked
took
out
me
the song.
4 years. Took me 4 years to write that song.
Really?
And yeah, it came together after about 4 years of sitting on parts. And I co-wrote it with Cliff Downs and David Poindexter. And but it took me a long time to write it. And when I finally did, it all came together quickly. And it changed my life in terms of what I was supporting, because I was supporting mostly kids.
Yeah.
And then when that song came out and I recorded it at Richard's Coffee Shop in Mooresville, North Carolina, I immediately was connected to that group of veterans. And so I've become, since then, I'll give you another example. The veteran that told me I sound better now than I used to, he also said in that same conversation, he said, "Ansel," he goes, "How long have you been working with us now?" I was like, "Since 2011." And he's like, "I just want to tell you, you don't just support us, you're one of us." And like that's the greatest compliment a non-veteran can get from a group of veterans. And
Yeah.
I think that's what I've become to them. They're not afraid to make fun of me. They're not afraid to kick me in the butt. They're not afraid to support me. They're not afraid, you know, I'm one of them to them. And that's what matters the most. You know, my veteran family is my veteran fan. They're my family.
I
And
mean,
so
you must have shed a tear there because I'm feeling like I'm
oh yeah.
welling up here just hearing that. I mean, it's such a huge compliment. I mean, my family, I've got a lot of members in the military myself. You know, my granddad's my granddad was in the Royal Engineers here in the UK. My cousin
Okay.
is one of the is a spy. He's part of the electrical corps signalers down in near Woking. My uncle was a chef in the army for the Royal Cavalry Guard in London, and there's so many different members of my family and my ex relationships. There's always been their families been involved in like the navy and whatnot, and very much military has always been my kind
Yeah.
of background, and it's what I've grown up with, and I've met so many people within military. I never got into the military because of medical conditions and whatnot, so I was actually really gutted to not actually make it into the Royal Air Force. Um,
Ah,
but I was in the Air Cadets, and being a part of the Air Cadets is like the junior version. It's like your kids,
yeah, the
from
ROTC.
yeah, and
Yeah.
so doing that from the age of 13 to 18, we did so many
Oh wow.
different volunteering events with a lot of the serving armed forces, and we'd do the remembrance parades on the 11th of November, and I'd carry the standards, the flags throughout the Leeds City Centre where I'm from, and
Okay.
the amount of different people from different Royal British Legions, the veterans that have served throughout like the World War II and other wars throughout the throughout the world, and the stories, and when they see you wearing a uniform and representing the country in the way that you do, it is there's a passion there. There's a love, and it's a love that nobody. It's not like in love with somebody. It's a family
Oh yeah.
connection, and I can imagine that's
Yep.
exactly what they were. That's the connection that you guys had, because to do it from 2011 to now is an incredibly long time, and it is incredible what you do. I mean,
Well, thank you.
in fact, actually, I've got
It's
a I think I've got a. Oh, there you go. I've got a new soundboard, so I'm using all the different keys.
oh, okay. Okay.
But yeah,
um
absolutely incredible what you do.
well, thank you. And the veterans, you know, when I went through my tough times, my dark times after leaving music, they were the first ones saying, "We have your back.
Yeah,
We're here for you." And you know, when you have that and you know that when you're down and almost out, those veterans are the first ones to come to my aid. And it's been an incredible two-way relationship. And I'm hoping now, you know, coming back in music, I'm hoping that I have an even greater impact on my group of veterans and the veterans around the US especially. You know, I care about people that serve, and I think it's, you know, I never did Our Country really live because I left music.
yeah,
So I'm going to be performing it for the city of Pittsburgh for the 4th of July next week.
really,
And it'll be really the first time. Yeah, and I'm doing it acoustically with because we're going to be doing a changeover in the band, and so I'm gonna sit or stand, I guess, and sing Our Country with an acoustic player, and it'll be the first time that I do it really in concert. And so I think a bunch of people are going to discover that song on the 4th of July, which will be kind of cool because it's exciting to start doing the songs that I've never done, like because I left music, the World of
yeah,
Outlaws. I've never done it in concert until this past May. So I get all this material that I never really did in concert. And it's like, you know, I don't feel like I'm, you know, I'm kind of new, but I'm not new.
yeah,
I've been here, I've got music, and I've got over 30 songs that I've recorded. And, you know, I like good songs, not like just demos, but good songs. And so I have a lot of material to work with and to teach people, and hopefully get people singing along with me at some point. So it'll be fun.
I think that's incredible. I mean, the fact you don't get a first of everything all the time. once you've done your first, that's it. And to say that your first for that's going to be on, 4th of July, it's made for it. It really is. I
Oh,
mean, as a very proud American, obviously speaking to a Brit here, it's you'd be like, yes, obviously the reasons why,
yeah,
and
yeah.
it's incredible. It's an incredible song, and it's incredible moment to do it as well. And I mean, just absolutely fantastic. Just you
I
couldn't
appreciate it because
write it any better, could you?
yeah. It really did. It almost started writing itself once I got to a certain point and I had some help and it just came together really well. And then when we added the Peter Cullen part, it was like it was like how you write a movie, man. It just came together. The script came together and it's just like to me it's golden and hopefully it's something that people will start learning and we've got some patriotic songs out there that are very good and I hope this becomes one of the ones that people start realizing they could be doing and then they do, so that's my hope with that song.
Next
Very
one I want
exciting.
to go on to is Tambourine. I mean, you're
Oh,
talking about
now she was shaking that.
it's an normally when you hear about songs about girls you meet and whatnot, it's usually someone's having a drink and there's lots of. I mean, we're going to be talking about a woman having a drink later on. If you don't get the reference there, you'll find out in a bit.
Yeah.
So obviously we're talking about seeing a woman, basically doing things with a tambourine that you don't really expect. I mean, I don't mean that in a sinister way, by the way, everybody. Um, the performance of it, a woman with a tambourine. Is this? Have you experienced this in the past? I mean, the way that you describe this story, the way that you present this story, it's remarkable.
It's that's a fun. I'm doing that in the Pittsburgh show for sure,
Yeah.
and it's a fun. In fact, my band was like, are 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 you gonna are we gonna do tambourine? They wanted to do tambourine. Like my band leader who
Please.
used to play for me several iterations of my band.
Yeah.
The first thing he said was, "We want to know if are you gonna do can we do tambourine?" And I like, because it's a good song, it's a fun song to do in concert.
It's a
But
great song.
that's just yeah, and it's something that when you see that pretty background vocalist or you see that tambourine shaker, it's hard to if you're single and you're watching a band and you see the pretty girl, how you feel. You're just like, man,
Exactly.
hey, can she notice me?
I mean, it is so wonderfully done. It's a wonderfully written song as well, and just it's so catchy. Every time it came on, I was thinking about my partner, and it was just this is every time just a big smile was on my face. It's just such a feel good song.
Especially the part about Stevie Ray Vaughan.
Yes.
And the
So
boy beside me, he just cared about the guitar player, and I'm like, no, I'm looking over here. And what guitar player?
that's that.
Yeah.
Going on to your latest release, this is the main, piece de resistance. This is the reason why we're here tonight because this is the song that stopped me in my tracks. I was flicking through all my press releases that I get through because I get loads, from all different companies because I love the reason why I started this show really initially. Not only was it to help other people kind of like find new artists or find independent artists or create a platform for artists to just tell the story. It was actually a quite a
Awesome.
selfish reason. It was quite a selfish reason, and it was basically just me wanting to find new music. It was back in 2016. That's where the idea came up of. I want to. I kept finding artist after artist after artist after artist, particularly here in the UK, and it's like I didn't realize this genre, this independent genre, was so big. So I was like, okay, if I didn't know this, do other people know this? And that's kind of like what got the cogs turning. It wasn't until 2019 that I actually started getting the equipment together. And then 2020 is when I did my first shows. The rest is history. And like I say, again, tangent. I was getting all the press releases, and I was flicking through, and I stopped on one, and it was like Ansel Brown. Okay, let's click on this, listen to the song, and this is the song that was playing. I mean, it's just listen to this, everybody. This is the start. Guitar riff. I mean, come on.
Feel makes you wanna go dancing till the music ends. Downtown with her friends all night.
Now, it's just such an incredible song, and it's been written by so many incredible writers as well. Tell me, how did you kind of like come across this song? Was it handed to you individually, or was you flicking through a big list of songs out there and you were like, oh, that one sounds good? How does it work out for you?
It was my producer in Nashville, Cliff. He was president of a big publishing company, and he left it in, I think, a year and a half or 2 years ago. And when I first started my album, I had two other producers named Brent Bauer and Harrison Foreman, and we did a lot of it here in North Carolina, actually. And then Cliff came back into my life. I was done with the album. I thought I was done.
Yeah.
And Cliff, somehow we reconnected, and I said, can you listen to what I've done? Because I wanted, he is my main mentor in music. And so I sent it to him, and he loved it, but he's like, hey man, I want to be a part of this. I want to be a part, you're coming back. I want to be a part of this. Can I send you some music? And so he sent me about 8 songs, and I listened to them, and I wanted all 8. I was like, I got to have all 8 of these songs. These are my songs. And so I ended up, I couldn't do 8 songs, but I did 4 songs, and all 4 of those songs will be singles on this album. They will all 4 be singles that I actively promote. The first one being "The Whiskey Makes Her Miss Me," and the second one being "We Make America Run." The third one being "One Color," and the fourth one being "What Country Is." All 4 of these songs, I'm not joking, they're amazing. I didn't write any of those songs. Liz Hengber, Rob Crosby, Jesse LaBelle, and Ian Flanagan, who's famous from The Voice, the TV show The Voice.
Yeah.
He's an amazing talent, by the way. They're all 4 co-writers on The Whiskey Makes Her. So this is a powerhouse song that I am lucky enough to say I got to record and release. And I'm just like, everybody, people want to be singer-songwriters, and I get it, and I do too. I love writing and singing my songs. But I'll tell you what, man, there are so many talented songwriters in this world. You are silly. You're silly, or you're sillier than silly to think that there are not songs out there by other writers that you should not be doing. You should be doing. I like, if I didn't listen to these songs, like I can't imagine how less appealing my album might be, even though I feel like it was really good. It's just that I feel like if you open yourself up to talent in songwriting, and you allow yourself to connect to a song, you should not be afraid of trying to get the rights to produce and release those songs. So I love songwriters. There are so many good ones in this world.
It is going off that, completely, and I completely agree, because to be a songwriter, it takes a different breed of person. It takes a person with so much creativity and the ability to, think outside the box, or think outside in a different dimension to what we see directly in front of us, because we can be very, a lot of us in society are very blinkered. What we see is what we get, and this is how we feel. And then when we hear a song, that's why songs, hit us so hard, because it takes us outside of this lane. It takes us where we actually do feel inside. And, my girlfriend is a singer-songwriter herself, and the only time that I could ever write a song is when I am kind of like piggybacking off the top, so she'll have like a melody or, the start of a song. And the only way I can ever kind of like, add to that is when I hear that, and then I go, okay, so this will sound kind of good with it, or this might work, or what about this idea? And then that's the only way that I can do it. Other than that, give me a pen and paper, and I'm looking at it. I'll be just drawing circles. So to get a song like that off some incredible art, incredible songwriters, you're a fool to turn it down. I mean, a hit like that, it's just
Yeah, and I think that song, the reason why I chose that song to go first for my relaunch is I felt like it was really commercial in terms of if I have a song that I think could do good on radio, I want to release it first because it kind of lays the groundwork for me to target radio, which
yeah,
even though I want to target streaming for sure, because streaming is today's radio, I want to go into the untouchable world of corporate radio, and I want to break the gates down so that other artists can follow me and go, you know what, I can play on radio too.
yeah.
And I would love to be that guy because I feel like, I love helping other artists. I love working with other artists. And I feel like, my personality and the things that I've accomplished in my life, if there's anybody that I think could do it, I think it's me. And I want to do it. And I want to make this something that happens on radio where they finally go, we got to pay attention to the independents. We
Yeah.
got to pay attention to the independents. If we don't pay attention to the independents, we're in trouble.
We just go back to, pretty much the start of the conversation that we had today, and you look back at the people, even Cliff himself turned around and said, "Is that you?" Singing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it just shows that it doesn't matter if you're an independent or you're signed or you're Morgan friggin' Wallen. You could be anybody. Yep. If you present a song, in a powerful, emotional, the way that the song is intended to be, that will touch the hearts of many people, the song will break through. Now, obviously, when you're in a label and whatnot, you have, it's like coming across
more money.
Well, plenty of money. It's like coming across a big gate and you're told to go through that gate to get to the other side. But, one person's got 3 keys to the padlocks and you've only been given 1. It's a lot more difficult for those that don't have the other keys or the money or, the people. It's not about what you know, it's who you know. That very, very overused saying, but it's so true. It is true. To make it into a industry, and it's such an incredible industry, but it is so hard as an independent. And my hat, if I was wearing one, would go off to you right now for being noble enough to not only do it for yourself, but do it in a position for other people to follow suit as well. It's just really noble.
Honestly, if I never have a hit ever, the experiences that I've had and that I continue to have as an artist, it's priceless. It really is. And I can't, that's not just a way of saying something, in order to feel better about yourself. I've been able to do things that stars can't even do. And it's because of my music, and it's because of my ability to connect and my ability to go after things that I want, my persistence. No label can do that for me. No song can really do that for me. It's all about how we as artists want to push our music out and allow people to experience things that allow us to experience the unbelievable. And that's really what, like, I win no matter what, because I'm getting, just like this fireworks show, this Pittsburgh thing, that's happening because I took the time to talk to somebody who talked to somebody. And then finally the city hears about the song. And then the next thing I know, we're in talks, like, we want to build a relationship with Ansel Brown, the city of Pittsburgh.
And the great thing is, the city are talking to you about this great song. And next thing you know, somebody who's higher up, it could be at the show in Pittsburgh, and be like, that's a very good song. Let's go take them. And then they take you to the next person. And it's like domino.
Yep.
It's the dominoes.
Yep. And nothing matters more than the people that listen to your show, because the people that listen to your show, they're the ones that make the biggest difference for any of us artists. So, that's why it's important. Like, if you want to support an artist, you favorite their song, you share their song, you play their song on repeat, you do things that really help the artists instead of just taking the artists for granted,
and it's all for
just
free
really
as well.
help them. Yeah, and basically you're either on a free subscription or you're on an inexpensive paid subscription.
Yeah.
And you're helping these artists
to retweet, to like a post, to share a post, to
Yep.
send a message out
People don't
yourself to your
know.
friends. It doesn't cost
People
anything.
don't know, right? And they don't know, people don't realize how much influence they have on an artist's career. And so if you like an artist and you believe in what an artist is trying to accomplish, or you believe in who they're helping and why they're helping people, or whatever it is, you should get behind that artist and you should push the button to make sure that you're sharing that artist with everybody that you know. And like you said, it doesn't cost you a dime to do that, but it makes a world of difference for the independents that don't have the big label behind us. And so, yeah, I like you're doing it. So your role, getting back to you and how you made this decision selfishly so that you could experience more music and things like that. And you're helping these independent artists. Well, your role has become something that allows you to have a significant impact on people like me that are trying to be heard by fans that would never know about us without you. So thank you.
You see, I've always gone by the saying that if one person listens to an artist's songs because of me, then I've already hit my quota. I've already done what I need to do because I've introduced that person. All it takes is that one person to then, it's the expansion, 1 to 2, 2 to
Hell
4,
yeah.
4 to 8, and whatnot. That's how quickly it can grow. And going back to things like Spotify, and here in the UK in particular, a lot of festivals here in the UK, there's a lot of country festivals here. And a lot of these
I want to be there.
festivals,
So you better help me get there.
I'll send you as many contacts as I've got.
Yeah, there you
But
go.
for a lot of the artists to actually make it onto the festivals, they need to have the streaming numbers, they need to have the social media presence, and the number of
True.
fans. So if you see an artist that you've liked, check out the Facebook page and hit follow, because if those fan
Yes.
numbers go up, listen to the music on Spotify. Because yes, an artist may not make money off it because it's like 0.003 pence or whatever it is nowadays. I've no idea.
Yeah. And you got to
But
stream a lot. You got to get a lot of streams to make money.
yeah, exactly. I mean, it's like 100,000 streams to buy yourself a cup of coffee or something silly like that. It's
Yeah.
stupid. But if a person has 100,000 streams, a festival's going to look at that and say, "There's a lot of people listening to that, and obviously they're liking it because
Yeah.
they're going back to it, and that's what makes them
Yeah,
want
you
to
have a
say."
direct, they have a direct influence as do you on and helping artists, get those shows that are going to pay them the right amount to be able to continue to do this. And so I thank you for having a platform like this for us artists to be able to come on and win over new fans and get fans to support us and help us, chase our dreams. So thank you for doing that, man.
Thank you. No, thank you. And obviously, the YouTube side of stuff here is very new. So obviously, as it starts to develop, and people look back onto to these first videos, and obviously, I'll keep pushing these because, like I said,
Everything.
when I first heard your music off this press release, and the press release that we get, I mean, this one's from Aristo PR, and it's
Yeah.
such a brilliantly done, press release as well. Everything, there's so much detail into it, explaining the song and the direction and everybody that's involved, and all the correct links as well, which is so handy for podcasters and presenters like myself, who, because I've got a million other things that I do as well, other jobs and shows and stuff around what I do here. And when you get something so incredible such as this, and then when you listen to an incredible song that just actually makes you think, I need to respond to this right now, it all works, and it's just been great, and it's been great chatting to you as well, Ansel, as well.
Yeah, man. Same here. I can't wait to do it again with you sometime, and hopefully we'll have a good update in the next 6 months and
Well,
get
fingers
another
crossed.
reason
Hopefully,
to
we can
come
do
on.
one in person when you're over here in the UK doing all the
Yeah,
festival circuits.
that's a done deal. If I get over there to perform,
We're manifesting
absolutely.
it right now. We're manifesting it.
There we go. That's right.
Well,
I agree.
Ansel,
Yeah, good
like
point.
I say, absolutely incredible song. The Whiskey Makes a Miss Me. Everybody, please check it out because it is such an incredible song. I personally love it. Check out the rest of the music as well. I've gone through a short selection. To finish off, there's one song that I'm just going to take the title of, and I'm just going to ask you a general question. What is your one wish in life?
Oh my God, you're gonna make me cry, man. Yeah, I didn't know you were gonna pick that song. Um,
That's why it's the last song I chose.
God, that's such a deep song, man. You don't understand. Like that's a that song is a real story of a girl that I wrote about that passed a long time ago.
Really?
And when she was going through her illness, she was in Make-A-Wish, and the kids in Charlotte weren't they weren't getting their wishes because there wasn't enough money. And so when she made her wish, you know, Make-A-Wish makes you get they get you to make a wish, and then they make that come true.
Yeah.
Her wish was that all the kids in the Charlotte market in North Carolina would get their wishes. That was what she wished for. You're gonna make me cry, man.
That is
Her name was Hope Stout, and
honestly that I think it's incredible, particularly people of such a young age going through horrible stuff in life, such as things like cancer and other terminal illnesses, which is what the Make-A-Wish do. You know, it's an incredible, incredible charity. And I was not, when I first heard the song, I was not expecting that. And it's still, when we talk about it now, every single time, it puts things into
yeah,
perspective for me. It puts things into perspective as to, you know, we all have these things in life where we say, oh, I wish I had more money, or my car's sounding a bit rickety and I need to get new tires, or I need to get this, or I need to get, for myself, I need to get a new laptop because my laptop's starting to burn at the bottom because I'm using it so much for videos, you know, in video
yeah,
production. Silly little things in comparison to that. It
yeah.
really
And
is.
so it's an interesting song because it's about that decision that, like, if you had a wish, what would you do with it? Would you use it on yourself, or would you use it on someone else, someone that needs it? And you know, I've always wanted to do a man on the street video where I ask people, hey, here's $100. If you could have any wish that you wanted, what would it be? And I would say, okay, they would answer and they would say, well, I wish that I could be an astronaut and go to the moon.
Yeah.
And I, you know, but the answer that I'm waiting for is, you know what? I would help the kid on the street that doesn't have dinner, and I would make the wish that that kid never has to worry about food again,
Yeah.
or the kid that has cancer, and I would make the wish that they would never have to deal with health issues again, or whatever it is. It would
Never
be
have to
about
suffer
somebody
kind of
else's.
thing.
Yep. And I would give them the $100 because they made the right wish. You know, that's what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
And but that song, her dad used to do inspirational speeches. And after I wrote that song and released it, he started using that song in his speeches. So as the ultimate compliment, you know, when that started happening, because it was such a tragedy just in itself, but then such a heartwarming, incredible miracle that happened after she made that wish. Sorry. That's what that whole song is about, man. It's about, like, thinking about other people and thinking about what they need, not what you need.
If you was to choose one thing in life that you could wish was better, or wish would improve, or wish, you know, it could be for yourself or it could be for anybody out there, what would that wish be?
I wish we would all be just, I wish we'd all get along. I mean, you know, I feel like, you know, we're such a world of, you know, me. And I wish we would just, like, you know, listen to people. Like, we're allowed to disagree. We're allowed to not see things the same way. You're allowed to see things red, and I'm allowed to see things blue. And I wish we could just, like, realize it's all colors.
Yeah,
It's the same thing. It's just different colors. And you know, I wish we could all just get along, man, because it would be such a cooler place if everybody just, you know, don't take everything so seriously.
definitely. I completely and 100% agree with you. I mean, we all, you know, cut us all and we bleed the same blood. You know, we all bleed the same color, and
That's
it's
right.
just such an incredible song. And it's just in the background now. And the power, the power and the emotion that's in these lyrics.
If you had me, just one wish.
I've had people put the lyrics on tattoos, and it's that kind of a song. When I did my hospital tour, I would sing that song at every hospital for the kids and the families, and that was my way of saying, you know what, if I could make a wish, it would be for you guys, and that's why I sang that song.
It is such a beautiful, beautiful song, and it's one of the reasons why I wanted to choose that as one of the last ones we talk about. I mean, there's so many I could talk about. I mean, God Dreams is another incredible song, and To Your Last Breath. Just honestly, everybody, please check out Ansel Brown's here. You're an incredible artist. You've been so nice on the show, and thank you so much. Where can people find you on social media if they want to find you? And when is your website up again?
It's up right now. It's just anselbrown.com. Yep. And my social sites are, everybody else's social sites too, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, X. I'm on all of them, YouTube. And I have a, kids YouTube channel as well with my daughter. And yeah, I'm everywhere. Just search for Ansel Brown. You'll find me. There is a poet named Ansel Brown, so I'm not that person. And but you should, if you Google Ansel Brown, you should find quite a lot in terms of where I'm at. But I'm on all the social channels, either under Ansel Brown or Ansel Brown Music, one of the two.
Amazing. And do you want to give your daughter's YouTube show a quick shout out as well? Because I hear there's a few followers on that.
Your fans will never look at me the same. It's Seriously Sophia. It's Seriously Sophia. I'm a goofy dad, and I'm directed by my daughter. So I have no, I look like a goofy dad, I act like a goofy dad, and I am a goofy dad. And I don't, I'm vulnerable in that series of videos. And but I love doing it. It's for my daughter, and I don't care how I look, I don't care how I act. That's my other profile, is being a dad.
But that's just incredible, the fact that you're not only just being a dad, but you're sparking creativity in a young mind. And that is the stepping stones for a child into adulthood. I mean, That's what it's the sort of thing I wish I had as a kid. I wish we had all this kind of like, fancy equipment that we get nowadays, because it would have made life so much easier to get into the creative world.
Me too.
But it is incredible what you do, and the fact that you can just be goofy with with your daughter as well. So everybody, please check out Seriously Sophia. If you're not watching that, make sure you listen to Ansel Brown as well. Everybody, thank you so much. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you, Ansel, for coming on the show. It's been an absolute honor. We need to do a catch up again in the next few months to see where we go, and after July 4th, and see where we are.
Oh yeah, Dom, you're awesome. I appreciate everything that you're doing, and thank you. You keep doing it. Keep making a difference for the independents out there, and really appreciate you having me on your show.
Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody, for listening. I'll see you all next time. Let's bye for now.